Good morning, guys. This is Bob. I'm in the Embassy Suites Hotel in San Luis Obispo. This is our setup for the NMRA PCR convention. They gave us a 30 by 70 foot spot. I'm going to do a walk around video. I'll start by showing you a picture of the layout and what we built. Pardon me for this roughness. But this is what we've got. We're going to start at the bottom right corner, which is Watsonville, and run up around and show you what we got going on here. So we've got the first module is Burnell by Gary Green. It's a signal mo, single track with semaphore signals on it, and they are operating semaphores. Really cool. The next module is Lambert, again from Gary Green. It's a 2-to-1. You can keep operating with a pocket on it also. Then we start into Watsonville Junction. This is by the San Luis Obispo group. We're still working on this end. Well, heck, we're still working on the whole thing. It's a double track yard module. Starts out at 26 inches wide because it's double track on both ends. It widens out in the middle to 30 inches wide, so there's more room for the yard tracks. Also, this end is a parallelogram, so the module frame shifts underneath the tracks, so the tracks go straight down through the module, and then the module shifts back at the other end. Well, because that's what the real location does. Those tracks are straight through there in this portion of the yard. We're going to have a truck scale and a truck scale house at this end. We're putting in a dock. There's one of the tracks of the yard is a little bit longer than the rest, and we're going to have a dock out at this end of it. Eventually there'll be more module sections, but this piece is an adapter. This is the one we just built finished the icing dock for. We got the icing dock onto this thing. We've been working on this module for probably 8 or 10 years now, slowly getting everything done. This is the one where the switch stands, I just posted a video that all the switch stands turn, and the targets on the switch stands turn when you throw a switch, and the points move. There's about 20 of them on this module. Boy, that took about 3 years to get that working right, and kept having problems with it. And then we've got the control panel for it. These are all Walther's controls, so each button has 3 wires coming up to it, and it runs the lights, the push button, everything. No resistors needed. Can't say enough about those Walther switch machines. Really love them. And the next module here is Parker's Gulch by Jeff Parker and Fremo SLO. It's a demonstration module for these bridge kits he's got for these double track bridge kits. Just gorgeous kits. Beautiful module. When we come into a standard old module, this is Chafee. This module is about 20 years old now. Been to a lot of setups, been to more setups than I have because it's gone places I haven't, and it's paired with its brother Bean, which is also about 20 years old. Next up is what we call Cajon Curve. It's just a little cheater curve module, and then we get into College Crossing. This is from Jerry Bill in the LA. It's a junction module. It's got a cross right down through the middle of it here with a track. Oh, I'm going kind of fast there. Sorry. Track on this side that comes back in, and a spur down this side. So there's an oil spur. He's got the little houses for the oil field workers. He just dropped that tower in there. I saw him drop that this weekend, and he's figuring out where to place all of his oil field stuff, and then the loading and on out, and it pushes out the other end and it's hooked to Jastra. We'll come back to that. We're going to run down this left branch here. Next up is Deuce Tango. originally built by David Dane, now owned by Rich Boyette. It's a 2-to-1 signal module. You can see it's a beautiful single module. And then we get into the Cat Factory. This is a Jerry Bill module. This is part of another module set he had, and he sold off some other parts of it and rebuilt this and repurposed it into a Cat Factory. We'll see the inside of that in a minute. So it's got this building, it's got, I don't know, it's 3 feet long, beautiful, huge warehouse or a factory building. It's got some spur tracks on it for the stuff going in and out of the factory. It's a double track. It's also got a double crossovers in it, so you get between the 2 mainline tracks on it. Really something. And we've got a little 2-to-1 tail spur. This thing, it's a switching lead. It comes in so handy. It's been used so many times. You tail that onto the end of your module set and you're golden for a switching lead off that double track module. And now we're going to go down the other side of the Cat Factory. You've got the first a track that goes down inside. Now this thing is all lit and detailed on the inside. It's got the assembly line going, so you can see here's the beginning of the tractor they're making, and it slowly goes together. So we bought all these models, took them apart so that you could build the assembly line in here as the parts get assembled and put on and comes down, and when the finished unit is here at the end, and there's a loading ramp, and you can bring the flat car into the building. Now those don't actually move, but good simulation. Just all the detail and beautiful work he did on this. Really love this module. It's a great module. Now I'm going to kind of zoom back past Deuce Tango. We got College Crossing again. We already talked about that. And then we get into another Y module. This is by Jerry Ingram out of NorCal. This is called Jastro. It's a double track along the one curve, and then the tail goes out as a single track. It's got some oil pumps and oil field stuff. This is based on a prototype location. So he's been slowly building up the whole tank field here and the tanks, putting in the oil pumps. Now we're going to go out another little spur here. We get into Rapid Set, another module by Jerry Bill, based on a real location. This is the Ganal Lumber Yard, and across the tracks from Ganal Lumber was the cement factory for Rapid Set cement. So it's got a number of tracks over there to drop in. Again, this is based off the prototype location. And we go into what's currently being called Acme Cement. This was originally Targus, built by Dan Risden. And it's just a simple curve with a single stub end spur on it. And now owned by Rich Boyette. And Rich has a number of different facilities you can stick in here, so you can change what is being loaded or unloaded at this location. I think Rich is still trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do with it. Then we have a little add-on piece here that's kind of fun. This was built by Jerry Bill. Let me back up a little bit, come around to this end. It's a utility module, and you move this back a little bit. You take and you lift these clips off this end, and it's a turntable, so you can turn your steam engine or whatever you've got going on and bring it back, and then you put these clips back on, and these clips actually hook this aluminum L girder to this one and powers this unit, so you can actually drive on and off, and those clips hold it in place and power it. Really kind of fun little thing. Here's the other side of the Acme Cement building there. And here's the back side of Rapid Set and the cement towers, or hoppers, I'm not sure exactly what you call them. Really nice module set, really well done. Now we're going to come back, zip here through Jastro. This is a great view, I think, down the in between the tanks on Jastro. Some really nice detail work done there. And then we turn and come this way, and then we go into North Hollywood. This was originally built by Mike Cardabiano, now owned by Rich Boyette. Yeah, Rich is a module collector. It's got a lumber yard on it, fruit building, SP freight depot. It's right now it's jammed up with stuff, and for some reason people keep picking up engines, sitting them off the track. Really got to break that habit. They're just piling stuff on the sides of the modules. I don't understand that. If you're taking it off, take it off. And then I can't remember if this next little curve is Irwin or Jameson. I've got a pair of them. Again, they're 20 years old, and they're two double track modules that are 22.5 degrees. And then I've got the two earlier ones that were 45 degrees. Then we're going to come into the oldest module in this whole group. This module is probably about 40 years old. It's a old NMRA module. It had code 100 track down the main line. If I remember right, there were 3 tracks down the main line. We pulled all that up, put down code 83 track, and then built this curve to bring the tracks into the middle of the end of the module to a standard fremo end. So it's now a module set. The buck braid building was actually over here originally. And we moved it onto this other section and built a new building for this end, and that goes across the joint and helps hide the joint between the sections here. Now, like I said, this module is really old. It was actually built by a gentleman by the name of Art Armstrong. He is, if Chris Palmares is the father of fremo, he is the grandfather of fremo. Art mentored Chris as he designed the fremo specs and helped him figure it out. In fact, there's a fun story about this depot here. He was, my understanding and what I've been told is Art built this depot. It's made out of paper as a mock-up of what he was going to put on this module. And when he got done with it, he felt it was so good that he never built the correct one out of wood. He just kept the mock-up. Now, mind you, that was about 40 years ago. And you can see the condition of this depot. It's still right fine. So he was right. Now this module does have some major problems though. The main line is great because we redid all that, but the tracks down through the middle of it are showing their age because of the age of this module. I'm just going to say poor practices on the sub-road bed from 40 years ago. So we're getting ready to tear out a bunch of these turnouts, show them as been removed by the railroad, throw some flex track in, and just have 1 or 2 tracks run all the way down and behind those buildings, and abandon a bunch of the other tracks on this building. And you can see right now we've got some Jersey barriers on here just to show that these tracks are out of service, so nobody tries to go down them. Now, this other end, it was built to go onto another module set we have that's not here. That's we call this set Arness or Arness proper. This is owned by the San Luis Obispo group, and it goes well with our Arness junction Y, and we built that Y with the double track end having an extra track off one side that if it's hooked to a standard double track module, it's just a stub end, but if it is hooked to this module, it becomes an extension so that you can get from the yard tracks on that other module down straight into Arness. So we'll have to see what happens and where that goes as time goes on. Then we have another module by Jerry Bill. This is called Route 66. It's a 2-to-1 with the Route 66 going across the tracks. I believe it's a very nice and well done module. Then we have a little module here we call the Pyru Bender. It's a little single track. I forget, it's about 16-degree curve. And then we get into Angel How do you say your last name?
Garrido.
Garrido, Angel Garrido from the LA group, or excuse me, the SoCal group. He's building San Luis Obispo. This module set of 3 pieces goes back home and goes into his home layout in his garage, but it slips out for transport to go to setups. He did an incredible job of capturing the look and feel of San Luis Obispo. Got this bridge that, I don't know, when did this bridge come out? In the 1940s? 50s. It was this bridge across. This is set in 1948 San Luis Obispo. So he's got all the buildings that were there at that time. He's done a lot of research historically. He's got the current San Luis Obispo station. At that time, there was also the previous station. The new station was built in 1943, and the two of them sat side by side for about 5 years. Being from San Luis Obispo, I can tell you that that is an incredibly good representation of the current depot that's there. I can tell you that this building is sitting there still today. I can tell you that this next brick building is still sitting there today. Just beautiful work. He's still working on it. He's going to be putting in the turntable and the roundhouse. So that's coming in, and he's got representation of the oil and sanding facilities, the power plant that powered everything in this area back then. Really just beautiful job. I'll tell you, he only made one mistake, and that's that he should have put a couple more tracks in the yard. But there's only so much room.
We're missing the roundhouse.
He's bugging me because I'm supposed to be designing and building or cutting parts for a roundhouse for him, and that is coming. Here's that mate to Irwin or Jameson, whichever one. This is the other one. I'm going to jump across the aisle here to the middle here. This is the other branch coming out of College Crossing. These two modules were built by Michael Larson. They're East and West Pendleton. He has since sold them to a local guy here, Harry Shada. I don't know exactly what Harry's going to do with them, but they're now in the San Luis Obispo area. Some very sturdy, nice modules need to be built up. Then we have the West Fontana Extension and West Fontana. These are by Gary Green out of NorCal. Whole just gorgeous row of eucalyptus trees, again based on the prototype location, telephone poles, fencing. He did pictures and research. He originally built the West Fontana 2-to-1 and then decided that it wasn't long enough, and so he built this extension to go with it and extend the scene. Just incredibly well done. Again, he's got signals and all the telephone poles, horses in the fields. Just a really gorgeous model set. And then we come into Cucamonga out of SoCal by Barry Draper. It's all signaled based off the actual prototype track plans. It's supposed to represent Cucamonga, not duplicate it. So it's there's fruit growers, lemon growers, the Cucamonga station, an oil platform that's in there, some other stuff. It's a 2-piece module set, and I'm on the wrong side to look at the next modules. I'm going to take you guys on a head spinning trip. Close your eyes because we're going to move fast. Vroom. And we're coming around back past Fontana, and we're at the end of Cucamonga again. I wanted to come over here because I wanted to come into the next module set. This is called Pyru. This is the very first fremo module ever built. This was built by Art Armstrong. He did some fun stuff on it. First off, it was 3 sections to show how your track doesn't need to stay in the center. It can move off to the side. So it starts off in the center, comes into a funny angle, wraps around, goes across another bridge, and then goes back to the center on the other end. he wanted to show that it was a three-section, you could build sections and have multiple sections to your modules. Your tracks didn't have to stay in the center of the module, they could wander around. This is just some bizarre angle that he didn't even know what it was as he built it. He just kind of ad hoc'd it. And then after he was done, I don't know if he built it or somebody else built that module earlier that we saw that was the Pyru bender that could be added onto this on either end to turn it into a 45-degree module. So this is like a 36 and a quarter or some just bizarre number. Now this has had the scenery redone on it by the SLO guys. We own this module now and have for a while. And then the other neat thing about this module is there's this curved piece in the middle. It can be removed and you can take the two bridge sections on either end, put them together, and it becomes a straight module with two bridges on it. In the 20 years we've owned this, I've never seen that done with it, but it can happen. So the profile on this joint and the profile on this joint are the same. And so you can take the curve out of the middle of it and bring the two ends together and create a shorter, different module. So this, again, was built by Art Armstrong, who, again, was the person who mentored Chris P. as he designed the standards. So this was, Art built this to prove what Chris was wanting to do and design. This is what fremo is. So the very first module ever built. So this goes back to 1994, 95, something like that. And this brings us back into the other leg of College Crossing. And that's the layout tour. So that's what we've got going on here in San Luis Obispo for the Pacific Coast, the NMRA's Pacific Coast Region Convention. Talk to you guys all later.